Hello and welcome to ATech. My name is Akshay and we are back with a new part of this tutorial series. So today we will learn properties in C Sharp. We'll see getter and setter in C Sharp. So before even properties came into existence, we used to have private fields inside getter and setter, and that's how we used to expose them to the public, to the user. Okay, so we will see that everything. And we will see read write properties in C Sharp, and we will see what is auto implemented properties in C Sharp. So first, that is getter and setter. We use getter to return and expose private fields to the users by enclosing them into the public get method. And what is setter? We use setter to set or initialize private fields with the values entered by users and also to validate them. Now what all this means, we will see them directly into an action. So for that, let's just switch to Visual Studio. Okay, so simple console application we have been using since the very first video of this tutorial series. I will get rid of them, that is the extra namespaces. I don't need them because we know whatever we use that is coming from this system namespace, so that is why I don't need those extra namespaces that we have discussed in a very first tutorial of this tutorial series, that is in introduction to C Sharp, what is namespace and why we use them. Okay, and if you guys not aware about that, so please just check out my first video of this tutorial series and you will understand the basic thing, that is what is namespace, why we use main method. Okay, so etc. And as a beginner you should know these basic things first. Okay, so coming back to this tutorial. Okay, so now what I will do, I will create one new class. I will name that as an employee. We have a employee class here, and let's just have some public fields here. Employee can have name, so first field that will be public int age, and second public string name. Let's just have two fields only. Okay, we will see very simple example so you guys will understand it more better. We'll not complicate that much. Okay, so and let's just have one method which will print details of employee. Okay, and that will return nothing, it will just print. So I will take void as my return type, and we know why we use void return type, so that we have learned in the previous tutorials of this tutorial series. Okay, so what it will do, it will just print the details of the employee, and we know this is age and name, we will be initializing them through main method, and whatever the name and age we will set, that we want to show onto the console, basically the details of employee. And how we can do that, let me have a write line here, and employee name is equal to, let me have that inside a string, is equals to plus name, whatever name we will be setting there. Okay, and let's just have another console. So for that it will be on the next line, because what that write line method does. So now again, what is the difference between this write and write line? If you use write here, then it will, whatever you put inside this write, like this, employee age is equal to I am appending age to that. So if you use write instead of write line, so what this write console.write does, that will append this message just after this name. And if you take a write line like this, then it will just have a new line, and on that new line it will print this message. Okay, so let me show you that. If I take only write, and let me just create an object, employee emp equals to new employee, and now we want to provide names and a detail, name and age of an employee. So first of all, let me set an age is equals to 20, 25 maybe, and emp.name is equals to Akshay. Okay, and we know we have a method that will gonna print the details of employee, and we can call that on this object because it is an instance method. That also we have learned in static and instance members in C#. If you guys not aware about that, just please check out the video in this tutorial series, that is static and instance members in class, that is static and instance members in C#. Okay, coming back to this video, and now I will print this. Okay, so employee name is equal to Akshay and employee age is equal to 25. And if you notice, this press any key continue is appended to this message, that is employee age is equal to 25. So that's why, so I have told you that it will append to this message, but no, it will not do that, because we know this write line means whatever this message will be printed, or it will be printed on separate line, means new line, and after that if you use write, so it will print that message, but whatever is coming after this, that will append to this if you use console.write instead of console.writeLine. Now if I use console.writeLine and if I print, okay, so now it is looking something good, and this press any key to continue has come to the new line because we have used writeLine method here, and that writeLine will print this message onto the separate line only, and whatever coming after that will be on the new line. Okay, but my goal was not to show you what writeLine method and console.write method does, but I wanted to show you what is getter and setter. Okay, now we know we can have this public, we can have these public fields like this, and we can call them on this instance. Okay, but now what if I make them as a private, like this? Now they are not accessible outside this class. Okay, so that is why you have to make that as a public in order to initialize them. Okay, so let's say we don't have any constructor right now, because we know if we don't make this public and if we keep that as a private itself, so we know we can initialize them by providing constructor explicitly like this: public employee so string name and int age, and whatever that is coming into this string, that we will initialize to our fields. Okay, and again now we know if this parameter name and field names are equals, so how to differentiate between them. This dot age, that is this object is referred to the current, that is this keyword refers to the current object of this class, and we have learned that in the previous tutorials. Okay, so you can do something like this as well if you don't want to initialize them here like this, and you don't want to make your fields as a private, and you can do then you can do something like this as well. Let me provide a name and age, so something like this. This will also work. Okay, so it is working fine, but what is the problem in this approach? Okay, so let's just consider right now we have two fields. What if you have a number of fields? What if you have 10 or 20 fields in your class? So will it be relevant to use these many fields inside your constructor and explicitly initialize them? Is it a very good way of initializing these fields? No, that is a very tedious task. So in that case, we know if we don't want to provide any explicit constructor and we want to initialize them as well, but we know as soon as you make them private, they are no longer accessible outside this class. Okay, like this. If I use emp dot. So it is not giving me IntelliSense as well because it is not accessible outside this class. So in that case you have to make this public. But now as soon as I make them public and I let user to initialize them like this, let me have values here. Emp dot name is equal to Akshay. Now it is working, but again there is one problem in this also. Now as soon as you making your user to initialize these fields, you are giving a full control to the user that he can initialize anything if he want. What if he initialize your age something like this, -25? Is it giving error? Is it giving any error or throwing any error? No. And what if he have initialized name to null? Can't he do that? Yes, he can do that, and no error will be thrown here because we know we can provide null to the reference type, and we know string is a reference type. Okay, and if I run this, okay, so it is working fine. But if you see here, employee is equal to -25. That does not possible. Any person's age cannot be in a negative. Okay, as well as employee name is equal to nothing because he have provided null into that. So you should not give a full control to the user. So he cannot give this -25. So either if you give the control to the user as well, if he is doing something like this as well, then you should be in the position to validate this field. But how we can validate that? So let's say user have provided this something value like this, then in our methods and then in our class what we can use? We can use getter and setter. So now we will see how we can use them. Let's say public void get age. We have a method like this which is taking this field int age and we can check that now we are in a full control to manipulate this age. Whatever is coming from the user, we are in a control to manipulate that before using that in our class or before initializing that to our field. Okay, so now or before even using this age in our method as well. Okay, so before that we are able to manipulate that, we are able to validate that. And how? You can check something like this. Okay, so if age is less than or equal to 0, then what we want to do? We want to throw an exception. Or let's say we will not throw in exception because we have not yet learned about exception. So we will be learning them in a later videos of this tutorial series. So don't worry about that. So for that, what I will do for now, I will give them a simple message. Okay, that console dot write line enter correct value for age, like this. And it should not be get age, it should be set age. Okay, so we are setting that value. We are taking whatever user is typing, whatever user is entering, and that we have to set to our field in this age. Okay, so this is not our field, so keep in mind that this can be anything. You can take this parameter as anything, age 1, 2, 3, anything, but for the sake of simplicity I have taken that as an age. And if it is so we will providing one message, enter the correct value. But if it is correct, if user have provide correct value, then we want to set that age to our age is equal to age, like this. And now we know we are taking this public method, so there is no need to make your field as a public. We can keep them as a private, and we don't want to expose them directly to our user. Instead, what our users can do, our users can use this getter and setter. So I will provide getter as well. they can use this getter and setter, and that's how they can set our age and as well as get this age. Okay, so I will take one getter as well, public int get age. We know that age will be in a int format, so that's why it should be return type should be int. So that's why return type should be int, and we will return age. Again, there should be one condition. What if somebody is directly getting this age, or somebody directly demanding this age before even setting that? So for that also we have to take one condition here like this: if this age is greater than or equal to 0, then only we want to return this age like this. Else it should throw an exception. Now again, we have not learned about exceptions, so but don't worry, we will be learning them in a very great detail, so don't worry about that. We want to throw a null reference exception here. Okay, like this. And that should be an object like this. So don't worry about that, we will learn exceptions in a very great detail. Okay, so that's how now we are setting and getting that age, that private fields from this class through the public getter and setter. And again we will do same thing for the name as well. So let me repeat that. And let me make the name as get name and set name, and whatever name coming in our method, we want to set that to our field, that is name. But when, if this name is not null or empty, so how we check that? There is a method in string, and we have discussed that also. So if you guys not aware about this, please check my previous video, so you will understand. String dot is null or empty. What it will does, it will check if this name is null or empty, and if it is so, then it will provide it will return true, because it will return a boolean value. If you hover over your mouse here, okay, it is returning bool. So then we will provide one message, that is enter correct name. Okay, or we will say enter the name. Okay, and if it is not null or empty, then we want to set that name. And again here as well, if string dot is null or empty, that is a name. Okay, we have to do that not here, because it should not be null or empty. Then only we want to return that name. Okay, otherwise we want to throw this null reference exception, and we know that will be string, so we have to make that as a string. So that is how now we are letting user to set and get this age and name through this public getter and setter. So like this, now we have this set age like this, and you have to provide a valid age into this set age. Let's say he have provided this -25. Okay, so it is not giving any runtime error, but we will see that what it does at runtime. And he wants to set our name as well, and he is providing something null here. Or let's say for now we will provide a valid name here, because we are already providing invalid age here. Okay, so we will see that what it does. And now we know this print method as well, he can access this name, because it is in a same class, because we know these private fields can be accessible inside this same class. But instead of accessing them like this, what we will do, we will do something like this: get age, sorry, it should be get name, and here get age, and I will run that. Okay, so if you guys can see here, it is providing one message, that is enter correct value for age. And why it is letting even after that our program to run? Because we have not thrown any exception, and I have told you why we are not doing something like that. Why I have not thrown any exception, because at that time I have told you that we will be learning exception in a later video, so that's why I have not thrown any exception. So that is why it is letting our program to run even after this message. So that is why, but it is still providing a message, enter a correct value for age, and it has not let that -25 initialized to our field, because, and that is why it is getting that employee name is equal to Akshay correctly, but in employee age, what it is initializing, that 0. And why? Because what we have done, if this age is greater than or equal to 0, then and then only we are returning that age. Otherwise we want to throw this new null reference exception. But in this case we know this is not a reference type. Okay, so that is why it is providing 0 to that, because we know null values don't deals with value type, and that we have learned. Okay, so don't worry about that. These are very different concept, and we have learned them, okay, already. But coming back to this video, but coming back to this concept, now if I don't provide a valid age here, so it is giving me that message, and we are in position to throw any exception, or we want to provide any valid message if it is not providing any valid value here. So that's how this getter and setter are used, and we can expose our private fields through this public getter and setter. Okay, and now what if I provide null here like this, and if I try to run that? Okay, so it is throwing an exception. Why? Because it is dealing with that reference type. We know string is a reference type, so that is why if it is providing a null, then at the time of getting that name, like here, it is checking if it is string, if that string, that is name, which user have provided null, so it is null. So that is why it is coming in this else section, and it is throwing that exception, null reference exception. That's what we have seen. So that is what getter and setter used for. But again, now don't you think this is so much of a code for only 2 fields to initialize and to return? This is so much of a code. What we can do instead of that? Instead of this, what we can do? Let's just have a properties. So now we will see what is properties in C#. So let's say we have a property that is public int age, and property name should always be a capital. Okay, and inside that, let me get rid of this. Let me get rid of everything. Or what I can do, I will keep that as it is to show you that, to show you something, that instead of having getters and setter, you can have both getter and setter access inside this single property. Okay, how? Let me get that from here, and let me have a set accessor like this. Like this. And one get accessor like this. and that should be a curly brace, okay, like this. And inside that two curly braces we will have our get and setter, that is get access and set access, that is get access and set accessor, okay, like this. And I should not have that here, but instead after this as well and after this as well, that is semicolon, like this. And we know why it is giving error, because employee age could not code or all code path returns a value, so we have to return that age here, like this, return age. But let me first have some condition inside this set accessor. So instead of getting that setter and getter methods and getting and storing and having conditions separately in them, we can have a single property and you can store this setter and getter inside this, basically this set accessor and get accessor, and inside that you can have your conditions like this. If age is less than or equal to 0, then in that case we will throw an error, throw argument null exception maybe, okay. So we have to make object of that like this. Don't worry why we have to use object of that, we will learn that, okay. And else, not else even, because we know and else if it is a correct value, we want to set our age, that is this dot age. We know we have a field, that is this age is equal to age, like this. Now again you guys might be wondering that we are not getting any values inside this property. So like we take any constructor and we provide any value in that constructor, then that we initialize to our fields, but there is no value coming in this property. So how value is coming in this property? So instead of using this age, there is a built-in keyword, that is value. So that value contains the value from the user, and that's how you will initialize your field from that value. You are setting that value inside this else block like this, and we want to return that. So this dot age, we will return that. And we don't need these semicolons here. Why I will tell you that? We don't need them here. We will need them in auto implemented properties. And what is auto implemented property? That also we will see. So now this is your property. So instead of having 4 getters and setters method, you can have only 2 properties, and you can have set and get access inside this single property. So same I want to do with name as well. I want to have one property with name as a name, like this. I want to have a property with a name, and we know that should be a capital name, and we will check that name if the string dot is null or empty. And what we want to check, that value. So whatever name we will get that from this built-in type value, this built-in keyword value here. And now why this error? Because this return type is int. We have to make that as a string like this, and we are good to go. And let me make that as a name, and we want to return name like this. So now instead of having this getter and setter, let me get rid of them. Let me get rid of this. We don't need anymore this getter and setter. Instead, we are having two properties, and in every single property there are getter and setter. That is this get accessor and this set accessor, which are doing the same thing but with a less code. Okay, and now instead of having this getter and setter, you can directly call these properties this name, and you can store that name is equal to Akshay and emp dot age is equal to 25, like this, and it will work in the same manner. And we know, yes, I have to make changes in one thing, in one place. Okay, now because we know we don't have any getter and setter, so instead we have a property with this name and one property with name as age. And now if I run, okay, so it is still working. And now what if I store any wrong value? Let's say I give null to this string here, that is name, and if I run, okay, so it is giving an exception, that is argument null exception. Value cannot be null, so it is throwing an exception. What we have thrown in this property is get accessor. Okay, like this. It has so user have set this null value which is coming in this value, so we have thrown that argument null exception. Okay, so instead of this I can have I can throw an exception, that is null reference exception. Okay, so basically I have copied, if you have noticed, I have copied this property here. So this null reference, so instead of null reference exception, this exception also get copied, and that's what it was throwing. So instead of that I am throwing a null reference exception, and if I run that, okay, so it is throwing null reference exception, and our program is working as expected, as it was before also running, even before using our properties was. But now this code is so much better, and very little, and this is very little, and this is very short code as compared to that getter and setter. Okay, and this is nothing but a properties that you can use in C#. Instead of exposing private fields directly to the user, you can enclose them inside this public properties, and that inside that public properties you can manipulate, you can validate your fields of this class. Okay, so that's what properties are, and what it says, we use properties to expose private fields with the users keeping them inside public properties. Second point, public properties allows to have both the set and get accessor, that is allows us to initialize and return private fields in a single property, and that's what I have shown just now. And instead of having get and set methods separately, so that's what I have told you. And third point, what it says, we can have a read only properties, write only properties, or read write properties in C#. Okay, so let me show you that. Now this is nothing but a read write property, that is it is both that is it is returning as well as setting the value. So that means it is writing as well as reading, so it is both the read and write property. We can have write only properties as well. How? Let me show you that. If I don't use this get method, then it will not return any value, it will just set that value. And why even somebody wants to set that value only and don't want to return that? Let's just consider a scenario where you want to take something from user and you have to store that into database only, and you don't want to return that to user. That value might be only for the developer purpose. That developer want to only store that to the database and don't want to return that to the user. In that case, we can have this only. We can have these write only properties. Okay, something like this. And similarly, you can have only read only properties only. instead of writing that, we are nothing but returning that fields. And why even someone wants to do this as well? Let's just consider we have a field like this, private working hours, and working hours, let's just take double for that. Okay, working hours, something like this kind of field we have. And now what if company has set the parameter that working hours should be this much only, and that has nothing to do with user, only company will decide what will be the working hours. So for that, what we can do, we can have one property like this. We know that return type will be double, and the property name will be working hours, like this. And in this case, what we want to return, we only want to return this value which is already initialized here, like this. If company has decided that working hours will only be 9 hours and not more than that, or tomorrow if company wants to provide any value like this, then company will set that value and you will only get that value, you cannot set that. So in this case, we can use this read only property only. So that is the purpose of read only property. Now let me remove that. So if you guys understand why we want to use read and write only properties as well. Okay. Now what is auto implemented property? Again, there is no flaw in these properties. Let me make that correct. Okay. So now we have, we have these two properties, this age and this name, and we are having conditions inside them. Basically we want to validate them, but let's just consider you have a field like this, private string email, like this, and you don't want to validate this email. You are letting your users to type anything in this email. Let's just consider this scenario. This is not in real time you want your user to enter anything for your email, but let's just consider this scenario. You want your user to enter anything for this email, just anything, but that should be in a string format. Okay, so in that case there is no point of validating that email. So in that case, instead of having this much code, you can just have something like this. Just type prop, just press tab 2 times, and this will be your property, that is string and email. So this is nothing but an auto implemented property, and behind the scenes what compiler will do implicitly, that will initialize this private fields, that is email, because it will check that name. You should have a same name, that is email. Or even if you don't take any field, if I will comment that, so it is also possible. So it is also good, because compiler will implicitly create one private field with this name, that is this email. As soon as you have this public property email, compiler will implicitly create one private field like this email, and it will implicitly get that and set that. So you don't need to worry about getting and setting that property, that fields as well. So this is nothing but your auto implemented property. So that's what it is saying. Auto implemented properties were introduced with C# 3.0. So it is basically came in C# 3.0 with the version of 3.0. And what it says, auto implemented properties creates a private fields with the same name as the property name implicitly, and also initialize and return those fields implicitly. So you don't need to worry about the fields, that is initializing and returning that. So that is nothing but an auto implemented property. So let's just quickly see the summary then. Before properties were introduced in C#, we were using getter and setter. So that we have seen before even properties came into existence, we can initialize our fields and we can return them instead using getter and setter. But instead of having so much of a code, we can use properties in C#, and that's I have shown you. So with the introduction of auto implemented properties in C# 3.0, there is no need of explicitly initializing and returning fields to the user. If you really don't want to provide any validation inside your properties, because what in real time we can validate our properties inside a method as well. We can have a method where you want to use your properties, and in that method separately you can validate your property. So there is no need of validating your property, your field inside a property. So that is why auto implemented properties are very useful, and that's how we use them. So this is nothing but all about properties in C#. We will meet in our next video of this tutorial series. So till then, stay tuned and thank you.